So we're talking about improvising over a time signature of 3, 3/4, or 3 crotchets in a bar, 3 quarter notes in a bar. Now, before we talked about improvising with melodies and making them fit into that. So we're going to start where we left off, really. So we're going to start with a melody that's made up pretty much entirely of crotchets, quarter notes, which is Fly Me to the Moon. Now, we'll take the first 8 bars for now as a demonstration. I'm going to play to you Fly Me to the Moon made up just in crotchets, in 4, in the usual 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I realise that's not exactly how it goes, but for the purposes of this demonstration, we're going to use it just as crotchets. Now, to change that into 3 is going to be tricky because there'll be too many notes. So what we have to do is we have to change a crotchet into 2 quavers. So, for example, if we're changing the last beat of every bar, we'll make into quavers instead of crotchets. So instead of 4 straight quavers, we're going to go. Instead of 4 straight crotchets, quarter notes, we're going to go crotchet, crotchet, quaver, quaver to make it fit into 3. Does that make sense? So quarter note, eighth note equals 3 beats. I'll demonstrate. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that sounds fine, doesn't it? Sounds fine because we're hitting the key notes in the key places. What I mean by that is the beat 1 of each bar stays the same in the different versions. So in Fly Me to the Moon, we're starting on a C, concert pitch. Now the first note of the next bar is an F. Then a B. Then an E. Okay, in both the versions, we're hitting those notes at the same places. So that's the first variation of going crotchet, crotchet, quaver, quaver. Of course, there are many others. You could put the 2 quavers on beat 2 instead of beat 3. That would sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Likewise, we could put them on beat 1. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So essentially, we're fitting 4 notes into 3 beats. Now we can do that in many, many different ways, using different rhythms. And using this melody as an example, we can do, for example, we could go just using crotchets and quavers. We could go crotchet, quaver, 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 rest, quaver. Does that make sense? Quarter note, eighth note, rest, 8th note. That's 4 notes. That would sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's one that works quite well with that one. Or we could just go, we could put a dotted crotchet in, then quaver, quaver, quaver. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So, what's the point of doing all this? Well, this is kind of, in theory, exactly how we alter our improvising over 3 as well. We're changing lines that we perhaps know quite well to fit a different time signature. So let's improvise with this now. So let's take a chord progression that we've been doing a lot. Let's take Autumn Leaves. We'll go back to Autumn Leaves now. So we're going to use those rhythms that we've just used with Fly Me to the Moon in a different scenario now. So let's take Autumn Leaves chord progression. So we're going to use some stock rhythms that fit over 3/4, as in 3 beats per bar, over a chord progression. Let's use Autumn Leaves chord progression. We'll use the first 8 bars for now. Now we've found out that crotchet, quaver, quaver, crotchet works quite nicely. It fits over 3 beats in a bar. That's quarter note, eighth note, quarter note. So let's use that as a stock rhythm over the first 8 bars of Autumn Leaves. Firstly, let's just use the roots. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now obviously sticking to the roots is a bit boring, so for this exercise we can now use the arpeggios instead of just the roots. Obviously you can start with just the roots and the thirds if that's more comfortable to begin with, but I'm going to skip to just using all 4, or all 4 as an option over that. So let's do that. So there's the 1st, 3rd, 5th and 7th of each chord. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Sorry, a bit ropey at the end there. Okay, so that's one stock rhythm. Let's use another stock rhythm now. Let's use a dotted crotchet, quaver, quaver, quaver. And I'm going to use that in an example, again, using just the chord tones, the 1, 3, 5, 7 of each chord. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, stock rhythm number 3, crotchet, quaver, 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 rest, quaver. Or whole note, I'm an idiot. Quarter note, eighth note, eighth note, eighth note rest, eighth note. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, work all that out, do lots of practice on each one, and then you can mix and match basically. Mix and match the different stock phrases along with the chord tones, the notes, the arpeggios, and it can sound something like this. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that was kind of mix and matching some of those stock phrases, and I was throwing in a few others as well, but pretty much always playing the chord tones, the 1, 3, 5, 7 of each chord. Try it yourself. That was using a backing track in 3, of course, and it doesn't stop there. Okay, you know, I was kind of demonstrating there that I was hitting those key notes. That's why we're practicing with the chord tones, because when you're playing a different time signature, when the chords change, you still want to be hitting those key notes that define the chord. The rules still apply. It's just that the rhythm's different, basically. So that's why we keep these stock phrases to get us through. And the more we use those, and make up your own, of course, but the more we'll get that feeling of 3, and we'll be able to anticipate where the chords change a lot easier and a lot more naturally. Basically, you want to get it to a point where you're not thinking about the time, you're just feeling it, because that way you'll hit all the right notes at the right times. Using some of your licks, if you've got licks in 4/4, you are going to have to adapt them and learn them in 3/4, change the rhythm slightly, just like we did with the melodies of those tunes. Figure out ways where your licks will, again, hit the key notes in the key places. You will have to adjust some of those rhythms, but that's fine. So that covers the basic level of improvising in a key time signature of 3/4.